Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits, both on Ravelry and Instagram. This is a knitting podcast with some crochet thrown in. I am right now mainly a knitter. I do love to crochet, but I have been kind of neglecting it lately. I can also machine knit, but I've been neglecting that as well. So typically, I just go along with what I feel, and right now I'm feeling knitting. So on this podcast, we talk a lot about sweaters and cardigans, and I bring up all sorts of patterns that I found on the internet just browsing. Sometimes I'll get lost on Ravelry and come across a pattern and be like, oh, hey, I should mention that. And sometimes some of my friends will actually send me patterns, and I have two of those examples today. And let's see, what else can I tell you before we start? I am 39 years old. I don't remember if I mentioned that. I live in southeastern Michigan, and I live here with my husband and my two kids. And I am a paraplegic, so I use a wheelchair full time. And I really love this podcast as a way to kind of meet the knitting community and get involved in a way that's pretty accessible to me, because sometimes I can't really get easily to fiber festivals and meetups and things like that. So that's one of the reasons I really enjoy this podcast. I think that's pretty much it for an intro. So if you guys are ready, we're gonna go straight into admin, because generally that's what I try to do so I don't forget. So for admin, every podcast I give away a pattern. Since I've been giving it away, everybody's picked a Ravelry pattern. So generally it's a Ravelry pattern. If you don't use Ravelry, get in touch with me if you win and we can figure something out. I'm sure there are other accessible platforms that we can get you a pattern. But anyway, with all of that said, the rules are that in order to be entered for the giveaway, you just need to leave a comment down below. It doesn't matter what you comment. I mean, obviously make it something that's appropriate, but other than that, if you leave a comment, I'm going to use a YouTube random comment picker and it'll pick one. The pattern must be under $15 and you can only win once a month, just because I want to make it fair for everybody. Okay, with all of that said, I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And whoever that was, get in touch with me on Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits and let me know what pattern you want and I will get it gifted to you. Okay, so this week has been weird. I've been so super concentrated on my Voyage cardigan. I haven't wanted to put it down. And you guys are gonna see that, but I have a stack of bags and I have to start at the top because otherwise everything's gonna fall over. So we're gonna start at the top and work our way down. And the Voyage is somewhere in there, but it's not at the top. The first sweater that I am going to show you is the one that I've probably worked the least on. And it's okay because it isn't needed until Christmas, but still I should be working more on it. But you're gonna see that pretty soon some of my time's gonna clear up here. So this is a Flax and it is knit with fingering weight yarn, and as you can see I put it on a bigger needle because last week I had it on a 14-inch cord, and it's really hard to see when you're trying to show knitting on such a small cord. So this is actually a mini gradient pack that I got from Mousewitch yarns, and the color is called Twilight Skies. And it goes from this really pretty light color all the way to like really dark. And you can kind of see it changing there. Now, this is the Flax by Tin Can Knits, and I've already put up the pictures of the pattern and the QR code. By the way, if you don't like using QR codes, I always take the link that I use to create the QR code and put it down below in the description. So you can use whatever you feel comfortable with. I just put the QR code up there because when I'm watching TV and a QR code comes up, it makes it so much easier for me to just take out my phone and use it. So, I really am loving how this is coming out, especially how it's going to start getting darker. And these minis are 20 grams, so I have been knitting, let's see, I have been using 2/3 of a mini and then putting it away and saving the last third for the sleeves, which I will break in half and do a little bit for each sleeve. And I'm pretty sure that's going to come out right. So I'm also keeping the panels down the sleeves. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This time I decided that I was going to. Now, I also used option 2 for the neck. So what that means is that when you start the Flax, and I've been using the Tin Can Knits app, which is actually amazing, and you can pick the Flax as a project to start. You can pick the size you want, you can pick the yarn you want, and it will give you all of the numbers in the app. You don't have to print anything, and it makes it super easy. Anyways, option 2 is where you cast on however many stitches you need and then immediately start working into the sweater, and then you go back and you pick up the ribbing on the neck. So I really like it. I'm wondering if my bind off is too tight. Now, I was actually thinking a lot about this, and it was kind of stressing me out. So I had my husband, and I'm like, try this on, see if you can get this over your head. And he could get it over his head fine. And he always laughs and says he has a big head. I think it's like 23 or 24 inch. It doesn't matter. But it's bigger than my son's head. So I feel like it'll be okay. But I might undo the bind off and redo it. It doesn't seem that... Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'll have him try it on before I do anything, because it really doesn't seem that tight. Like, that's good. I worry about the weirdest things, but the one thing that I like about the Tin Can Knits Flax pattern is how straightforward it is. It's just a simple raglan, and you can see my increases here, and I use these light bulb stitch markers as a way to remember what I'm doing on a pattern. So I was increasing, and then this way I don't have to worry about writing like what I'm writing down little dashes for one increase. I used to do that. You know, before I started using these stitch markers, geez, I'm tongue-tied. Before I started using these stitch markers, I would write down like little dashes and then cross them, little marks, and cross them for 5, and it was awful. Like, what was I thinking? And then I was watching a podcast, or no, I was talking to one of my friends, and she started talking about how she uses these to do this, and I'm like, that's amazing. So I will never not do that now, because it just makes so much more sense. Anyways, this is the color that I'm using, and I love how it's so moody, and I just love it. And now, I am sorry, but I am going to crinkle some. This is the next color, and you can tell it's kind of getting darker. And then, I will mute this, so I'm going to be quiet while I show you these yarns so you don't have to hear the crinkling. So here goes. Okay, I know that was a pretty poor representation, but as soon as I get these 2 balls done, I will be winding them up, getting them out of the bag, finally. You know what? I'm using minis everywhere, and it's such a pain to wind them. And it just is. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, so this is Mousewitch Yarns. And I know I said it was Twilight Skies, but it is actually Stormy Skies, so I apologize for that. But I really love the gradient, and I have another gradient for my daughter. So after I finish this for my son, I am going to be making the flax for my daughter, and it is going to be pastel colors. It reminds me of unicorn colors, and if you know my daughter, you know that she loves like the pastels and like the light pinks and things like that. But, and I keep thinking, I keep going back to this, right? Because a couple, maybe it was last week, maybe it was the week before. The weeks are kind of all like blurring together. But one of the weeks I showed you guys a pattern called Moana, and it was a dress. And I believe it was in DK weight yarn. And I just keep thinking that it would be so nice to make her a dress with her gradient yarn instead of a sweater. The problem is that Moana, I think, is with DK weight yarn, and I would really have to think, how can I take the fingering weight yarn and kind of make a DK weight pattern with it when I'm going to be making her the largest size? Which means that I would have to look at the pattern, which is fine, I have it. It was free for this month, maybe? It was free for a month. I will put the links up so that you guys can take a look at it. But it was free for a month, and I have the pattern, and I could definitely figure out the numbers to make it a better size to fit her because it's a pretty simple dress. So maybe what I'll do is I'll ask her if she would rather have a dress or a sweater. I know the answer. I don't even have to ask her. She's 9 and she loves dresses. So of course it's going to be a dress. So anyways, all of that rambling to say, you might very well be seeing me kind of pull out some math numbers and try to figure out how to make her that dress with the wrong yarn. So it is what it is. This is my next foray that I'm going to show you guys. So before I start, my son is in 8th grade, so they're going on a trip and they're trying to raise money for the trip. So this is his like final grade before high school, and they're going on a trip and it's super exciting, and the parents had a meeting and we talked about how we were going to kind of raise money because, I mean, raising money for anything nowadays is hard because, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like the price of eggs is like $100. So yeah, it's hard to raise money right now. So we were trying to come up with different ways to do it. And then I suggested that I could make some hats and they could sell them for like whatever they're gonna sell for. I don't expect it to make a ton of money, but anything would be good. So that is what I have been doing. And I should have shown you guys this first. And by the way, I should have talked about what I'm going to wear. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to mention what I'm wearing. And hopefully I don't forget and try to remind me. Okay, so this is a finished object, and this is another odd stripes. And for this one, and I started this last week, this is like, I'm using the dark green, gray, and light blue. So I have made, this is my third one, and I don't have the other ones handy because I've got like all the hats I'm donating for the fundraiser in like a Sterilite container. But I'm actually also putting in my Prismarine scarf, and I feel like maybe they could get a little bit for that because I think it's a really pretty scarf. But I was going through what I had, and I'm like, well, what can I give for this fundraiser that somebody else is going to be able to use? Because I mean, I can't give away my sweaters because they're made for me, right? But a scarf. Anyways, I was talking about the hat. So here we go. This is the odd stripes. This is a pattern from Locatelli, and it is originally knit in worsted weight yarn. I am using Scheepjes, oh no, Drats. I always want to say it's Cotonia, and it's not. It's, Scrumptious. Jeez. You know, it's okay. It's Sunday. It's not even early, guys. I slept in today, so I have no excuse for being so, spacey. It's just me. But this is Scheepjes Scrumptious, and it is made from 50% recycled polyester, which they said was recycled plastic bottles. And I don't know how that works, but that's what it says on the website. So I'm taking that for what it is. But it's also 50% acrylic, and it's super soft. And I think what I like about using this, and I have a bunch of these colors, I actually grabbed out 4 colors. So I grabbed this gray. No, I grabbed 5. I grabbed gray, light blue, dark blue, and light green and dark green. So I've been like using them in all different combinations, and this is my third hat. But I think that this will be my, not this one, the one that I'm going to show you is going to be my final odd stripes. And then I am going to just look around for other DK weight patterns. So if you have a favorite DK weight hat pattern, let me know down below. Bonus points if it uses multiple colors, like small amounts of multiple colors, because I have a bunch of 30-gram colors of Scrumptious. So that should be good for, I mean, it doesn't have to use tiny amounts of colors, but like color work and stuff would be great. I was looking, and I find a bunch of like DK weight patterns that use just one color, which would be okay, but I'm really concerned that 30 grams isn't going to do it. So, uh-oh, my bag is falling. And this is the final odd stripes hat I'm doing. This is like a light green and a dark blue hat. So I think I have one of every like color combination now. And I really like this pattern, and it's always been one of my favorites from her. And I just think I like the way that, hang on, there's not much to show here, so I'm just gonna put that back. But I really like the way that how that looks, how it's asymmetrical. And you know, it's so simple. You could buy this pattern and you could take it and work it with any weight yarn. All you really need is to figure out the number of stitches that you're starting with. And I don't know if I remembered how I figured it out because I'm using DK instead of worsted. What I did was I went to the Tin Can Knits app. Surprise, surprise, because I love the app. It's amazing. I went to it and I looked at their barley and I figured out how many stitches their barley started with for the size I wanted because it's a hat. And then I put in DK weight yarn and then they told me the size, the cast on I should use, which worked really well. So I was just trying to make like maybe a child large or an adult small. So they're just beanies and I like them and I'm hoping they raise a little bit. For the fundraisers, they have like a dance later on in the year that should hopefully do a little bit more. But anyways, that's enough of that. We are going to talk about my favorite thing right now because it came next. Okay, so I have a lot to talk about with this. How should I word this? I've got the color work done. And by I've got the color work done, I mean I've 3 needle bound off the sleeves. Now, if you do not know what the Voyage is, the Voyage Cardigan, and no, I can't show you that one. Where's the picture? Oh, it doesn't matter because I've put the picture up. You guys have seen the picture. I don't know why I keep trying to show you black and white pictures. But this is the Voyage Cardigan and I'm dropping little mini skeins, but it's okay. So here we are. And it's so fun. This is the front and you can see the Steek running down the middle right here. Whoa, that really does something with the color. That's crazy. When I had it up here and it was only showing this and then I brought it down, like the color went all weird. But you can see right here, here are the armhole Steeks. Now, these are my the bulb stitch markers, and as you can see, I marked all of my decreases so that way I remembered to do them and I remembered how many I had done. But with the Voyage, it was really easy because you have a long chart and it's a color work chart and it's like 70 something rows and they'll say, well, do this X number of times. So what I did was I went to the chart and I just counted the rows up until the line that I was going to stop. And I just put a star there so I knew, hey, when I got to this line, I was going to stop decreasing. But I'm really happy with it. And I really do, this is going to be like an adventure because I'm terrified. So I've never steeked anything before. And naturally, I picked like superwash wool. So it's going to be even more of an adventure. But, oh, okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but if you look down here, this is blacked, right? And this is the difference between this is how it looks when it's not blacked up here. You can see how wrinkly it is. I just like, the difference is amazing to me. But I had so much fun, and you can tell right up here, there's the, it decreases. It goes like this. You're decreasing for the neck because it's a V-neck. And I've also got the stitch markers right there. It's kind of hard to see because the Steek, but maybe that'll help. So the plan that I have, and I haven't been able to put this like down all weekend because it's been so much fun. I think that like last night was Saturday night, and Saturday night I was finally working on like my stripy unicorn, and I've been ignoring it like the whole week because of this. This has been so much fun to do. And so my plans, because I have a lot of plans, right? My plan for this specifically is as soon as this podcast is over, this has to be blocked before anything else gets done, because the fibers have to kind of relax like they did down here. And then I need to what do I need to do? I'm going to let this dry. I have went through, let me show you. I'm going to turn it inside out, so don't be too scared. I went through and did exactly what they said in the pattern, which was to knot the yarn ends and then snip them. Because what's supposed to happen is that I'm going to cut down the steek and then fold them over so that they'll be secure, which is good. Hey, look at my floats. That's so much fun. I'm so happy with this. And the funny thing is, I'm totally ready to make more. I have so many plans. Okay, anyways, speaking of plans, so what I'm going to do is block this and let it lay out to dry. While that's happening, sometime this week, and I'm going to show you guys this pattern now, and it's going to be kind of out of order because I need to explain what I'm going to do. So this is a pattern that I found, and it is called Steek This Coffee Cozy, and this seems to me like a wonderful idea. So I am going to be making at least a couple of these to try out steeking. And to me, it seems a lot more fun to do it this way than to just make a swatch. I mean, technically this is a swatch, but it's a swatch with a purpose. I like swatches with purposes. It just makes it a lot easier. So it says, steeking is a technique used to safely and securely cut your knitting to create holes where you want them. It's frequently used with complex colorwork sweaters because it is easier and faster to knit colorwork in the round. It can be scary to steek a big sweater, so I created this scaled down steeking project to help knitters try out the technique fearlessly. Think of this project as a mini sweater vest for your coffee cup. The cozy is worked in the round with stranded colorwork to create classic Fair Isle pattern. Then follow the step-by-step guide to steeking with a crocheted reinforcement. You can do it. That is so cool, and it uses crocheted reinforcement. Oh, and so this person who wrote this is Rachel Molenaar, and she says at the bottom, interested in using Steek This in your classroom? All I ask is that you encourage your students to make project pages on Ravelry, and that you drop me a line telling me the date of your class. Thank you. This is such a cool pattern, and I am definitely going to be making this very many times over the next week. So if I don't have much progress, and I'm sure I won't on the sweater, the Voyage, I will have these to show and explain kind of like my steeking adventures. And I feel like if I can work through it a couple of times on a small project like that, it will give me the confidence to be able to do it on a bigger project. And I feel like once I've got it, it will be better. So it will be better for everybody. Okay, guys, seriously. You didn't remind me to talk to you about my sweater. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's been a morning. So this is Aase Spring by Locatelli. And unfortunately, I do not see spring outside. I see fall, and that is not spring. So this pattern is, I knit this, I think last year for the Locatelli knit along, and I used Madeline Tash, and I'm trying to remember the name of the yarn. I think it was like Kenergy or something. It had something to do, it was a Barbie movie colorway. And I really like how it pooled but didn't pool. Does that make sense? No, not really. I like the sleeves, how they look. No, I wouldn't call that pool. A little bit. A tiny bit. But I really like on the body, there's not really much pooling, but I love the colors and it makes me so happy. And you're probably going to see this sweater a whole bunch during the winter and the fall because the bright colors make me happy. And I'm one of those types of people that really need like the bright and happy and light, like light colors and happy colors during the winter, because it can get to be quite a lot during the winter because it affects me quite a bit. There's not really a lot of going out and doing things, and you get stuck inside. And with the wheelchair, it makes it even harder because snow, wheelchair, like, it is what it is. But I do love this pattern. I really loved making it. And as you can see from the next sweater, I am a big fan of her knit along. First of all, she every fall, starting in September, going until I think the end of November, she has a knit along. And this is the 3rd year that I've done it. And it's one of those things that I look forward to every year. So now this is, would you believe I had this on a bigger needle and I moved it to a smaller needle last night because it's so hard to work when it's like on a 30-inch needle. So, and then I didn't move it back. So I guess it is what it is. But I like to think that you guys can see it a little bit better. The needle is bigger than the one I had last week. So, where's the front and where's the back? There we go. So this is the Stripy unicorn. And I've been enjoying it, but I've had quite difficult time with it. It is a difficult pattern, and I've had to basically go through it, and this is it. So I had to go through it and mark out all of the increases and when they happen, and I had to draw a diagram for how the increases were laid out, and I cannot find them. But I will eventually, when I get this on Ravelry, I will take a picture of how can I do this? I will take a picture of the diagram I did for the increases, so at least you can understand how the markers are laid out. Maybe. I will think about it, but whatever I put on Ravelry will not give away the pattern in any way. That's what I'm trying to come up with. What I'll probably do is take my chart and draw like a circle and just show how the markers are laid out without any stitch counts or anything. So because I think it's hard to understand what's going on in the pattern without seeing a visual representation of it. And if you go on Ravelry and look at the project patterns, the project pattern pages, and you look at some of the helpful ones, because you can sort them by most helpful, there will be ones that have like that stuff graphed out, because I wasn't the only one who had issues with this. But let me talk about the neck, because I think the neck is giving me trouble, or it has given me trouble. So I started this off and decided, okay, I want ribbing. So I knit ribbing, and then I started working it, and I decided I didn't like the colors. So I pulled it all out, and I started working with a lighter color as opposed to this darker color, because I thought maybe I'd like that better. Well, I worked some of it, and then I'm like, I don't like this at all. So I pulled it back out, and I went to the darker color, which I started to like. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do this. But I don't know if I want ribbing. So I did a provisional cast on, and now I have my neck on needles waiting to be worked with whatever I decide. I don't know if the rolled neckline is going to like bother me. So my idea is that I am going to work probably the whole sweater, and then try it on and see what the neck, if the neck will look okay with ribbing, or if I need to have a rolled neckline, I'll do that. But I feel like I need to work the whole sweater to see how it fits and like the weight of it before I can make an appropriate decision about the neck. So, but I am using this beautiful color, and I love this color. It is Blackbird Sycamore yarns in it is Blackbird Sycamore yarn, and I always add an S. I'm sorry. That's not the only dyer that I add an S to at the end. And the colorway is Mandy's Magenta. I asked her if she could dye up like a magenta color, and I think it looks good. The minis that I am using, and you can kind of see how it's getting darker, is an all pink Advent from Suburban Stitcher, and I've been having troubles with it because the all pink is a lot of the same colors. I wonder if I can show you. Yes, look. That's not going to work. Sorry for the crinkling. Look at these three. These are 3 different Advent colors, and they're pretty much the same. So, I mean, I understand because they're all pink. It's an all pink Advent, and you can kind of see some differences, but the stripy unicorn for me is probably going to end up being 2 very similar colors instead of like different colors, which is okay. And I do like it. And it's so horrible to show. You know what? I'm going to write myself a reminder in my phone to get this off of the smaller needles because it's so hard to show. But you can see how the increases work, and they're just scattered. They're not randomly scattered, but they're randomly, I don't want to use the word randomly because they weren't randomly done. They're placed throughout the yoke to increase it. It's not by random, obviously, but it's not as straightforward as a raglan. How's that? It's definitely been interesting. And then when I was going back to talking about how I had ripped this out and then put it on a provisional cast on for the neckline, I forgot to mention that this is my second one because I have the first one somewhere. So this is what I first started out with. And this one made me realize, hey, I really need to mark out those increases because I don't understand what's going on here. So I basically took this one and put it off to the side, and I'm glad I did because now at least I know that the increases are correct and they line up whenever you spread it out, so that's good. But I'm not sure. I was very happy that I managed to split for the sleeves, and now I'm kind of just working in a row. I should mention this. One thing that's pretty cool about this is that you've got the circle of the body. Now there are 2 markers in the front and 2 markers in the back, and then some markers off the side, on the sides. So you decrease in the middle and then increase on the side, down the side. So it kind of goes like this. And I think that that's really cute. I've not worked a pattern that's done body shaping like that. And if my horrible explanation didn't make any sense to you, please go check out the pattern page. You can see how the shaping goes. I thought that it was very pretty. So, okay. I think that was like all the yarn I have to show you. I have some yarn that I've ordered from Blackbird Sycamore yarn, and I haven't opened it yet because I have the perfect idea for it. And if you guys remember, I mentioned that I had 2 main goals this year. One was to do the Voyage Cardigan, and the other was that I have this pattern for Legend of Zelda socks. So I don't want to do the socks because I'm not a sock person. What I'm going to do is take that the colorwork charts, and put them on sweater sleeves. So I have this really pretty color, this neutral color that I got from Blackbird Sycamore yarn, and I am going to make that the body and then do the colorwork sleeves. But that's going to be after I do the sea glass cardigan. So there could be a chance I won't get it done this year, but that's fine. Our goals are always changing, so we just kind of got to roll with the punches. At least that's what I tell myself whenever I keep getting distracted by like all of the sweater patterns and cardigan patterns. And oh man, I have a vest to show you guys, and I saw this vest, I think, so like today's Sunday, I saw this vest I think like on Tuesday, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, I have to mention that one because it is so pretty. But anyways, I'm going to start talking about some patterns because, like I said, we all need more patterns in our lives. If I say this wrong, I apologize. Please correct me down below in the comments because I am not sure how to pronounce it. It is called the Aase sweater by Hanne Rimmen. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Like I said, please correct me in the comments so that I know how to pronounce it for the future. But I saw this and I thought that all of the color work is so pretty. And I really think that it looks nice, especially in two colors like that. This is made with DK weight yarn. So it uses a lace and a fingering weight held together, but you would have, I mean, you could just use DK weight yarn, especially because if you use like a lace and a fingering weight, like a mohair and a fingering weight, it can get expensive. So a DK weight might make it a lot more accessible to everyone. So this says that it boasts a graphic pattern which with its weaving repetitions evokes a sleek and contemporary Nordic look. The pattern is inspired by the knitwear designer Aase Lund Jensen, particularly her enchanting pattern named Skal, which was originally crafted for a tote design. Through the 50s and 60s, Aase pioneered an iconic style with focus on blending patterns and rhythmic decrease and increase in her pattern knitwork. These details are revived in a modern context within this design, paying respect to the original craftsmanship. This is so pretty. I love the graphic look for this sweater. I think that would make an amazing tote as well. And like I said, if I pronounce the names wrong, please let me know. I'm not familiar with them. But it says that the sizes available are 1 through 4. And it fits a chest circumference of 80 to 137 centimeters. Now, I didn't print it out, but I did notice it. They have a children's version of this. And I think the children's version was the one that caught my eye. And I'm like, oh wow, because I thought that it was an adult's version. So I looked at the children's version and then I started looking around for an adult version, and this is when I ran across it. But they do have a kid's version of this sweater, and I think it's so cute as well. I think that it's obviously a lot of work. It's a lot of color work, but if you like color work, it's definitely a beautiful sweater. And I would love to make it into really contrasting colors like red and white, or like black and white, something that really is very high contrast. Okay, now this is the vest that I've been thinking about. This is the Delacorte vest by Valerie Hobbs. So this is a cabled vest, and I think that the cables and how they work on this vest are really magical. And that's the only way I can describe it. Let me see, which picture? Oh yeah, this one right here. Do you see how that just works? How beautiful that is? That is the bottom of the vest, and it just flows right down, and I loved it. Now, this is knit with worsted weight yarn. I'm looking at this, so I'm not a big vest person, but I'm looking at that sleeve and I'm wondering how I can make it longer, because it would be such a pretty cardigan. So it is worsted weight yarn, and the gauge is just normal 20 by 28. Which is 4 inches in stockinette. So it uses a 4.5 millimeter needle, and the sizes available are 30.5 to 60.5 inch bust. It says cascading cables transitioning to deep ribbing add dramatic impact to this cozy and wearable vest. Knit in worsted weight with an I-cord bind off at collar and armholes for a polished finish. This vest will become a welcome addition to the fall and winter wardrobe. So do you guys like cables? Because I think that this would be an amazing cabled vest to work on for the winter. And you could make this in a bunch of different colors. Do you know what? I would love a hot pink. I would love this in hot pink. I think a hot pink cabled vest would definitely be in order. Okay, so I've also ran across, I've been looking at different striped patterns for this stripy unicorn. I have been looking at different patterns and what colors people use and how they look in their project pages. How do I like stripes that pop more? Do I like ones that don't? And that's how I came across this one. This is Sailormoon by Svetlana. Oh my goodness. This is Sailormoon by Svetlana Volkova, and I found that this was so pretty. This came out in April 2019, so I have not been up on the up and up with this pattern because I think that it's really cute. And I think my favorite part about it is the bottom of it. Do you see how it goes into like lace? I think that's lace. And I wonder, let's see if so I really like how the back of that looks and how the stripes kind of come together. I think that that's a really cool design. So this says it uses light fingering. The suggested yarn is Malabrigo yarn sock. So the gauge is 28 by 34 rows in stockinette, and it uses a 3.25. So it's in size extra, extra small to extra, extra large. Okay, here's the circumferences. It says 30 inches to 52 inches or 76 to 133 centimeters. It says it's designed to be worn with 1 to 7 inch of positive ease in the bust. So it says that you can use 800 to 2,500 yards. I wonder how difficult it would be to adjust the size to knit this smaller or larger. I'm trying to figure out, and I wonder how this is. It says it says it's knit seamlessly using unique shawl-like construction. So I'm not sure how easy it would be to add or remove width, which is unfortunate because it only goes up to 52 inches. But I don't own the pattern, so it might be easier. It might be easy, and I just can't see because I don't know how the increases are done. And it says unique shawl construction, so I'm not sure what that means. But okay, so this is a jacket that my friend Stephanie sent me, and I thought that this was really pretty. This is called the Every Which Way Jacket by Sandra VanBurkleo, and it is knit in bulky weight yarn. And the suggested yarn is actually a Noro yarn. So what I really liked about this is that it's modular and you pick up and knit. So I've always wanted to do a sweater like this. This is done in bulky weight, and I was thinking about it because I have seen some different types of yarn that would go great with this, but it's not bulky weight. So what I'm thinking, and this is what it says. It says this broad-bodied and cropped modular knitted jacket with or without side vents, can be made with garter stitch cap sleeves or 3/4 length sleeves with garter stitch edging. Most of the squares are joined as you go. A few require short seams. 3 beautiful buttons and a narrow crocheted band with button loops plus a garter stitch border around the bottom complete the piece. The bottom can be extended as desired to lengthen the jacket, but another layer of squares requires another 100 grams of yarn. Okay, so it says that, what does it say? It says the gauge is 15 stitches for 4 inches in garter stitch ridge. What I'm thinking, it says 16 inches for squares. Okay, that's the tool size. What I'm wondering is if there's anywhere in the pattern that it says how big your square is going to be in bulky yarn, right? Are you following me so far? So if I have a square that I made in bulky yarn, but I want to make it in DK yarn instead, then all I need to do is make that DK weight square the same size as the bulky weight yarn square. Does that make sense? So if I'm making a square and I'm joining it as I go, all I technically need to do is make sure that my square size equals the square size of the pattern, which is how I think I would approach it if I wanted to use a different weight yarn for this. But in the end, I might not, because I really think that that Noro yarn is very pretty. But I don't know. I've always wanted to try like a modular sweater or something, and they seem really cool. It's really neat how you can just knit a square and then pick up and knit the other side, pick up and knit a square on the other side, and they kind of like piece together as you go. A long time ago now, I guess, and wow, a long time ago, I had a crochet book that would basically do like modular crochet hexagons, and you would piece them together as you go, and then they would magically turn into like a garment to wear. It was really neat. I really enjoyed that book. And the last pattern that I'm going to tell you about, I don't have printed, naturally. So I am just going to put a picture up here, and I can't remember who wrote it, but it's really cute. It is a cat granny square, and my friend Anne sent this to me, and I thought that it was adorable. So my daughter and I are huge cat fans. We are big cat people. So whenever we see cat stuff, we both get super excited about it. And she sent me the square, and I started thinking about how cute it would be to make like a tote bag with them, or like a blanket. I mean, it's a granny square, right? So you can do anything that you want with it. And I was looking at the designer, and there are different animal patterns that she has. And I believe she had a sheep one too, and I thought the sheep was adorable. Like the little like I believe that the sheep had like these little baubles maybe. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. The granny square pattern was really cute. Part of me really wants to like grab out all of my crochet stuff and start making more granny squares, but I've been so focused on color work and trying to work on the Voyage that I know that if I grab it out right now, it will just kind of get lost in the mix of things. But anyways, I wanted to share that cat granny square with you guys in case you know any cat lovers or cat loving kiddos that would love like a grant. Like you could make like a little That would be really cute. You could take a couple of granny squares, or you could take this granny square and make it rectangular with the cat in the middle and put like two of them together and make like a little girl's purse. I don't know. My daughter would be all for something like that, though. She loves cats, so. Okay, I think that that's it. I have rambled on so much, and it seems like I've just talked forever, but I'm so hoping that by the next week, I will have some coffee cup cozy steeking to show you, and hopefully good news being that it worked and I'm more confident in what I'm doing, and then maybe the next week I'll be able to kind of cut this apart and fingers crossed it'll go okay. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. If you, if I put your name up at the beginning, make sure to contact me either on Ravelry or Instagram as Mandy Von Knits and let me know what pattern that you want, and I will get it gifted out to you. If you don't use Ravelry, like I said, shoot me some kind of message and we'll figure something out. We will. It will. I know that they have like, I know that some pattern designers use different platforms, and I'm sure there's gifting somewhere. Other than that, if you want to enter for next week's giveaway, just leave a comment down below. Okay guys, that's all I have for this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. Bye!